jolt and then you'll die.
Good day, ma'am. So for the continuation of our report about historical social foundations of curriculum. Okay, we have John Goodlad, 1920 to 2014. So let's have first to read his background. John I. Goodlad, August 19, 1920 to November 29, 2014, was an outstanding educational researcher and thinker who produced ideas for school renewal and teacher education. John Goodlad was a professor emeritus of education and co-director of the University of Washington's Center for Educational Renewal. He died in Seattle, Washington on November 29, 2014, at the age of 93. Goodlad taught at Emory University, University of Chicago, and University of California, Los Angeles. He was the former dean of the Graduate School of Education at University of California, Los Angeles. So that was his short background. Okay, so let's proceed to his contributions. So we have his purpose. First, curriculum organized around needs of society and students. So this means that the purpose of John Goodlad's to the curriculum is that curriculum should be relevant to students' lives and, of course, the society. It's because in order to meet the objectives, it is very important that curriculum should be based in the students' capacity in order for them to learn effectively. So that was his first purpose about his contributions to the curriculum. So second, we have wide range of purposes, including cognitive, social, civic, vocational, aesthetic, and moral. So this means that John Goodlad is aiming for the development of the cognitive, civic, vocational, aesthetic, and moral aspects of the students in order for them to be creative and to learn a wide learnings to a certain topic to become them prepared. So that was his second purpose. So we have third purpose of John Goodlad. Realistic reform policies and programs. So this means that in order to make an effective and solid purposes of students' learnings, it should have important to have a true policies and program reform so that it can evaluate the progression of the students' learning and can compare the past policies to the new curriculum in how the policies and programs contributed for the students' learnings. So that was his third purpose. Okay, so let's proceed to his principles. First, we have reduce student conformity in classroom. So, as I understand to this principle of John Goodlad, this principle is to fix the student's attitude, which is being go with the flow of what other response. Like for example, the teacher will ask one of her student will relate to the topic, and the student will give his her opinion of what he should learn about the topic. So after the first student learned about the topic, so after asking the first student, the teacher will call again someone and ask him her with the same question. So the answer of the second student should not be the same with the first person, so that it can develop their critical thinking in responding question without confirming with others' response. So that was the first principle of John Goodlad. So second, we have constant need for school improvement. In order the students to be exciting and comfortable to go to school, it is very important that the school has the source that can help the school to improve its environment, because this is one of the students wanted to have a better for learning. So, the facilities and everything that can make the students interesting to study. It is important to know the areas of the school wherein the students can learn effectively and can apply the curriculum that can hone the students' skills. So that was the second principle of John Goodlad. So the third one, we have school reforms frequently come and go and add cost to the system. Teacher input is preferred. So as I have understand to this principle of John Goodlad, this means that there are a lot of programs in school, but those programs are not permanent and it will come end. So the school should have to add a budget or cost to the school system in order the programs to be continued. And it is very important to have the opinions of the teachers, what is the best thing to do, because the teacher's opinion are highly needed in this situation. So that was his third principle. And the fourth one, we have standards and high-stakes tests currently drive school reform. So this principle of John Goodlad is to make the school active to promote high quality of education for students in order to become more competitive outside or even globally. This principle can help the student to be engaged with education. Just like, for example, in Davao de Oro State College or DDOSC, have the program, when enrolling to this school, you should go with the entrance exam first to test your ability if you are applicable to the course that you wanted to go on. And this is an example of standards and high-stakes tests that can drive the school. So that's all for John Goodlad. Next, we have Paulo Filho, 1921 to 1997. So let's have first to read his background. Paulo Riglus Neves Pryor was a Brazilian educator and philosopher who was a major proponent of critical pedagogy. He lived from September 1921 to May 2, 1997. He is well known for his seminal work, Pedagogy of the Oppressed, which is the third most referenced book in the social sciences and is widely regarded as one of the fundamental books of the critical pedagogy movement. So that was his brief background about Paulo Filho. So let's proceed to his contributions to curriculum. So, his purpose. First, education as a means of shaping person and society through critical reflection and conscientization. So, this purpose of Paulo Filho means that education helps the people or the learners to make themselves to become better and to mold their cognitive skills in understanding the situation around them. According to Paulo, also that education helps the people understand the true meaning of the world and of course the education through critical thinking. Conscientization. This is the key concept of Pryor's approach, which means that the ways in which individuals and communities develop a critical understanding of their social reality through reflection and action. So, this approach tells that everybody can learn through with experiences. Alright, so everybody can learn through with experiences in life and it will shape the person's perspective to society through with his or her reflections to the reality. So that was his purpose about his contributions to the curriculum. So, we have his principle. Teachers use questioning and problem posing approach to raise students' consciousness, understanding the hidden curriculum to raise awareness of social justice. So, this okay, wait. This principle of prayer means that in order the students think critically, it is very important to have a questioning and problem posing. Just like, for example, the teacher will give a very logical question to the class. So, everybody in the class should have to participate and use their cognitive skills to think critically of what would be the possible answer to the given question. So because of this principle of prayer, it can make the class more effective for the students, and it can kill the fear of every student who are not participative in the class. So this is the principle of Paulo prayer. Okay. So let's proceed to the next person. We have William Pinar, 1947 to present. So let's have first to read his background. William Frederick Pinar, born in 1947, is an international studies researcher, educator, and curriculum thinker from the United States. Pinar is well known for his work in curriculum theory, and since the early 1970s, he has been closely connected with the reconceptualist movement in curriculum theory. So that was his brief background. So let's proceed to his contributions. So the purpose of his contributions to the curriculum is that broaden the conception of curriculum to enrich the practice to understand the nature of the educational. So this purpose of William Pinar means that it should have the plan of wide perspective or broad thinking about what is the best thing to do to make teaching more effective for the students. And if it's effective or applicable for the students' learning processes, so the plan will be applied to the curriculum because it is already been tested and studied by the specialists. The best thing to do is to have the planning about this in order to understand the nature of education for the learners. And that was his purpose of William Pinar. So, let's proceed to his principle. According to his principle, curriculum is a conversation that involves multiple disciplines. So, this principle of William says that in the curriculum, the teacher should not be focused in one subject matter only when discussing. It is very important to go deeper in the explanation process so that the student can learn and realize and think critically and can gain a lot of learnings because the teacher uses multiple disciplines of teaching to have a wide understanding to a certain topic. Just like, for example, the teacher will encourage the class to have a research about human anatomy's functions. So, the learners are going to research about the topic and go on with a deep research and learn the branches of the given topic. So, that was the principle of William Pinar. Okay, the next one, we have Peter Oliva, 1947 to present. So let's read his background. Peter Oliva, born in 1964, is a Canadian novelist who lives in Calgary, Alberta. A former bookseller, Oliva won the Canadian Booksellers Association Award for Best Independent Bookstore in Canada in 1999. He holds a Master of Arts in English Literature from the University of Calgary. It has also studied Italian, Japanese, and French. So that was his brief background of Peter Oliva. So let's proceed to his contributions. He described how curriculum change is cooperative endeavor. So according to Peter Oliva, when there is a cooperation and endeavor, the curriculum will change in the best way that every learner can benefit and can learn effectively from it. So the second one, we have teachers and curriculum specialists constitute the professional core of planners. So this means that the teacher and curriculum specialist should have to be engaged or to be part with professional planners, because this is to know or to monitor if the teacher and the students meet the curriculum that are made by the curriculum developer, and also to know how the curriculum more effective for the students' learning processes. If there's need an improvement about the curriculum, so the professional planners will find a way and go with the research study on how teaching strategy to be more effective for the students. So that is the second contribution of Peter Oliva. So the third one, we have a significant improvement through group activity. So, social foundations. It is also indispensable to consider the social background of curriculum, the relationship of social factors such as schools and society influence curriculum decisions. Hence, curriculum workers must consider and use social foundations to plan and develop curricula. Okay, so in order to make a curriculum, it is very important to know the situation of the society. The society in the school would be the basis in developing a curriculum. Schools in society. Society as a source of change. Schools as agents of change. Knowledge as an agent of change. So let's proceed to the next person. We have John Dewey, 1859 to 1952. So let's read his background. John Dewey was an American philosopher, psychologist, and educational reformer who lived from October 20, 1859 to June 1, 1952. His views influenced educational and social transformation. In the first part of the 20th century, he was one of the most renowned American scholars. Okay, so let's proceed to his contribution. Considered two fundamental elements, schools and civil society, to be major topics needing attention and reconstruction to encourage experimental intelligence and plurality. So, as I have learned with this is that schools and civil society will be the major topics that needs an attention. It should have to use the intelligence that can make of what would be the thing to do to make these two elements meet its purposes. And what would be the major plan that is good for everyone, then it can apply it for the learners. So that was I have understand with this contribution of John Dewey. Okay, let's proceed to the next person. We have Alvin Tuffler in 1928 to 2016. So let's read his background. Alvin Tuffler was an American writer, futurist, and businessman known for his works discussing modern technologies, including the digital revolution and the communication revolution, with the emphasis of their effects on cultures worldwide. He is regarded as one of the world's outstanding futurists. So that was his brief background about Alvin Tuffler. Okay, so let's proceed to his contribution. So Alvin Tuffler wrote the book entitled Future Shock. So this is one of the book of Alvin Tuffler that is best selling in bookstore because of its significant content. Future Shock, which has the content about the present. It is about what is happening today to people and groups who are overwhelmed by change. Change affects our products, communities, organizations, even our patterns of friendship and love. So next one, we have Alvin Tuffler believed that knowledge should prepare students for the future. So, yeah, that's why knowledge is very important for us because it can give us a better future if we have to pursue our dreams in life. Okay, the next one we have, Alvin Tuffler suggested that in the future might have the resources to teach a prescribed curriculum form home as a result of technology, not in spite of it. Homeschooling. So, Alvin Tuffler suggested that in the future, it will come a prescribed curriculum form that entails a homeschooling, and with the use of technology, the learners can even learn if they are in their houses. This is what I've understood about this contribution of Alvin Tuffler. So the next one we have, foresaw schools and its students worked creatively, collaboratively, and independent of their age. So this means that Alvin Tuffler predict that if the school and the students are collaboratively work, so the result of it will be successful and curriculum are already met. So that's all my report about the historical social foundations of curriculum. Thank you so much for listening and watching.